Hi, my name is Judy and I'm the City Stitcher, and welcome to my Flosstube channel. Today is Sunday, February the 7th, and while it is a sunny day outside, the temperature is minus a bazillion. Slight rounding there, but that's what it is. So it is an incredibly freezingly cold day where I am. The forecast for the whole week is minus a bazillion as far as I'm concerned. So my goal this week is to try not to have to leave the house, I think pretty much for anything if I can help it, which I think I might be able to do. This is a channel about stitching, so if you are a new viewer, thank you for stopping by and spending some time with me, and I hope that you enjoy what you see, and if you do, please like and subscribe. If you are a returning viewer, thank you for coming back. You know very well what we're going to be talking about and how this episode is going to go. And as always, if you have any comments or questions or topics that you would like me to discuss, please feel free to leave comments in the comment box below. More than happy to take questions, comments, topics, all of those things. Just let me know. And with that, we're gonna dive straight into the stitching that I have done this week, and we're gonna start with what I like to call for 2021 the Neverending Nativity. So as discussed on last week, I promised myself that I was going to spend some time working on this particular piece because last week I found all sorts of reasons not to stitch on it. Some justifiable, some, you know, I knew I was reaching. So this is, I'm working on the Camel from the Mauves Nativity. And if some of you don't know what the Mauves Nativity is, it is this gigantic 5-paneled piece, six charts, 5 panels. This, just so you know, this is the size of essentially a fireplace screen. So I did work on it this week. I, you know, made myself sit down. Charlotte was really lovely and left a comment on last week's video about, no, you can do it. I didn't know what I was doing either. It'll be fine. I'm only a phone call away. Very encouraging. And really, I said to myself, you're being a total wuss. So stop being a wimp, suck it up, pretend you're an adult, get on with it. So I did. So I spent, don't get me wrong, I still delayed, and we'll talk about that on my next piece. But I did work on the Camel, and I worked on the scary parts. So these are the parts that are using Kreinik ribbons. So various Kreinik ribbons, whether it's 1/16 ribbon or 1/8 ribbon. And again, so the blank spots that you see here are more ribbon things. And, you know, since I didn't show it last week. So the part that I have done this week is, so I have filled in this row here, this red ribbon here, red ribbon, green ribbon, and blue ribbon. So that's how my Camel is looking. So not bad. The interesting thing, and Charlotte, I'm going to let you wade in here too because you have this and you've actually stitched it. I have to say, the more that I work with the ribbon, the less I'm enjoying it. It's firmly going into, or certainly the way that it's being used in this particular design is putting it in the camp of Kreinik. Sorry, Kreinik. And again, I'm going to be very specific to say this is because of how it's being used in this. So essentially what you're doing is you're laying down your ribbon and then you're couching over top of it with, in some cases, blending filament, which you can't see, in some cases, more ribbon on top of it, you know, variations of things. in this band here, it was supposed to, there was some back stitching that was supposed to be done with 2 strands of blending filament, and I have to say, when I started it and I was following the instructions, you could barely see the blending filament to save your life. And because we talked about Kreinik in December of last year, I followed the advice of the Kreinik website, which says if you feel like you need to strand up, don't strand up, just go up a size. So I went to my stash. So I was ridiculous. I have my stash in my X-Stitch app. Did I bother looking in the X-Stitch app? Of course not. I went straight to my stash, opened the drawer with the Kreinik and went, do I have this particular color in a number 4 braid? And I did. So I took that out, you know, went back downstairs and stitched it, and I'm much happier with it. So this first one, so I started at the top one, and I think I have now put that particular thing in 3 times. I put it in 3 times, done different things. Anyway, I got to a point where on attempt number 3, I said, we're going to be done with this now. You're going to have to figure out a way to make it what you want and just be done, because I said. So I got it done. I do have to say, and so if any of you are contemplating doing this, whether you're doing all of the Marbeck panels or whether you're just planning on doing the Camel, because I know someone has commented that, you know, watching me do this has made them want to stitch it. I have to say, I would go back and I would not use the ribbon. So that's me. Now, I'm too far into it. I'm at the point where my goal for tonight is to finish this up. Don't get me wrong, there's still more to do and tassels and things like that. But my goal for tonight is to be done with this. So I can say, be done, be done, be done, be done. I would go back and I would use a number 4 braid in these colors. And whether or not I just, you know, did like, so this thin ribbon here, whether, like, I think I would just go in and I would just do a series of X's and do that. You know, some of the wider bands, I think I might go in and do satin stitches, again, using a number 4 braid as opposed to using the ribbon. I find the ribbon finicky. It's annoying. You know, it's not like it's hard to, so the way you finish it off on the back according to the instructions, which is what I'm doing, you bring it to the back, you whip stitch it into, you know, the backs of your other stitching to secure it. Fine, not hard, totally doable. But I'm finding it a little finicky. Anyway, I'm going to finish it so I can say that it's finished. And my goal for today is to finish these last 2 chunks down here. Now, my plan for this week for this is that I'm going to continue on. So tonight I should finish this. I still have the reins to do, so there's still quite a bit more ribbon to go on over here. And there's a whole series of tassels that need to be made and put on there. So my goal for this week is to finish the Camel. Goal number 1, primary, that's, you're not allowed to work on anything else until you get that accomplished. However that works out for you, whatever you have to do, blah, 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 the more you moan, whine, and complain and put off, the more you delay working on other things. So do the Camel, because then we'll really be down to, we just have the center panel to finish. Once the Camel is finished, 4 out of the 5 panels are complete. So that's where the Neverending Nativity is as of this fine Sunday in February. But as I said on last week's video, because I finished Lady Scarlet's Journey in January, come February 1st, I was going to be starting a new project, which I have. Once I find the piece of paper that I'm looking for. So this ties into the topic for this week. Let's talk Freda's Fancy Stitching February, or as I like to call it, Freda's Fancy February. The stitching doesn't really, you know, the alliteration doesn't work out, so I'm calling it Freda's Fancy February. And so what I am working on for the month of February and my new start is this chart. So it's a series of 8 charts called the Banquet, and it's called the Banquet because it is a veritable feast of stitches. This is not what it looks like. So when this first came out, I'm maybe 2017, 18, anyway, somewhere in there. I don't remember when she started it. This is a project that she started as a mystery. And as we all know, I don't like a mystery. I don't enjoy a mystery. I need to know exactly what it's going to look like so I can decide how I feel about it. So even though I had friends who had seen the model stitched up and said I was going to love it, and even though I knew that the colors, the called for colors, were colors that I liked, until I saw the final product, I was unwilling to commit in any direction as to whether or not I liked this. So this is, all of the parts are out. So this is what the final product is going to look like. So this is all 8 parts stitched. This is canvas work. So this is done on an 18 count mono canvas, as opposed to linen, Lugana, Jobelin, Ada, any of that kind of stuff. So this is done, so this is canvas work. Let me just shove that over. And so I sat down on February the 1st and started. So here is my piece so far. So these parts here to this section here, so effectively to there. So that is chart number 1. So in the space of a week, I have completed 1 whole chart. So 7 more to go. So these 2 parts over here are from part 2 of the Banquet. I've really enjoyed this. It's been a long time since I have done canvas work, and so, you know, anytime you come back to something, I have to, you know, stop. I have to think a little harder about how I'm reading the chart and how I'm putting it on, and, you know, 27 other things. Not that it's overly difficult. You have to do a little switch into your brain as to how you're reading the chart. Not that hard. So it was funny, when I started this, this was my favorite square, and then this became my favorite square, not really square, but go with me. And then this became my favorite square. Now we're tied. I love this square. Particularly because of this variegated thread that's being used in here. While I was stitching it, I was like, ugh, I just need to find one of those like ink circle type, mandala type things where you use one, you know, where you can use one variegated thread to use it. So this is DMC 4020. I think it's just lovely. I go like, if you found something, you know, nice and springy, it would be perfect. And then this one over here, I also really enjoyed, again, because it's all of these are beads. And again, so this is an example of, you know, so I'd stitched all of these white stitches here, and instead of putting this down and going to work on my camel like I was supposed to do, I said to myself, well, I mean, you can't possibly leave this particular piece when all you have left to do for this part of the chart is to put the beads in. You really, like, you have to sit down and put the beads in. Again, just another example of how I, you know, find ways out of doing the things I don't want to do. Anyway, Hence, so I successfully delayed another evening of working on my camel so I could put my beads in, right? Totally justifiable. Anyway, so really enjoying this. Love the palette. I've seen the model of this and I just love it. So yeah, this is my February piece. So I will also say, so January when I started Lady Scarlet's journey, I was pretty sure that over the course of the month, I felt that I could probably get all of Lady Scarlet's journey stitched in the month of January, and I did. Now, I squeaked it in. It's not like I had, you know, a week left of, you know, time to kill, although I did have a plan that if that worked out, I knew what I was going to do, but that didn't happen. So again, this is 8 charts. Chart number 1 is complete. Chart number 2 has been started. So at this point, I don't think that I'm going to be able to get all of this completed in the month of February, which is okay. That's totally fine, because I'm planning another new start for March. And I'm okay with that. To me, the interesting thing will be to see how far I can get on this in the course of the month, while still making some progress on the Neverending Nativity. So here is my Freda's Fancy Stitching, the Banquet Parts 1 and a little bit of Part 2. The stitch diagrams, and again, I've made this comment, you know, even on the Just Nans. So in this chart, so every single one of the, I'm going to call them squares, regardless of shape. Square, 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 square. Anyway, each of these squares comes with a specific stitch diagram for that particular square, period. So every single stitch here is outlined. They're fantastic diagrams. They're easy to follow. You know, so if you're concerned, saying like, oh my goodness, this isn't cross stitch, I couldn't possibly do this. If you can successfully do a connect the dot picture from a children's activity book, you can do this, period. Even if you have never done specialty stitches before, my answer is you can do this. The diagrams are fantastic. They're numbered. They show you exactly, they've got arrows, they've got all the stuff, which direction you should be going, arrows, numbers, things, blah, blah, blah. I'm saying all totally doable, period. So again, so I'm doing this on an 18 count mono canvas in French blue with, wait for it, all of the called for fibers from the pattern, which again is also unlike me, but I love this palette. I love how it looks. Again, I've seen the finished model live and in person, and I just love it. It's fantastic. So this is my February start for Freda's Fancy February. That's what I'll be working on. Love it. All right. Just looking at all my stuff that I've got here. Okay, so next up, Stitch from Stash. So I have, it's funny, a friend of mine and I were chatting this week. She was like, she knows that I've got some stuff waiting for me at my LNS, which I have been remiss about going out and getting. And quite frankly, it was on the agenda for this week to go get, except it's minus a bazillion. So I'm going to phone the shop and let them know that I'll be coming out, not this week, but next week, because it will be warmer. And again, this is stuff that was ordered last year, paid for last year. You know, again, welcome to supply chain issues and delays and Christmas things and whatever. And again, the stuff that I ordered, I need none of it for 2021 stitching, but I ordered it anyway. La, 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 la. Let's not think too hard about that. But it has arrived, so it needs to come home. She's disappointed. She's like, I really like seeing Stash. She's like, so could you hurry up and go out and pick up your stuff so you could show things, because I miss seeing haul. And I very graciously said to her, like, excuse me, you know that I'm trying to do Stitch from Stash for all of 2021, right? Which means there shouldn't be a lot of haul. This should be a not overly exuberant haul year, right? You remember that that's the concept we're working with. But anyway, so this is my weekly check-in around how I'm doing from Stitch from Stash. So I have in the Facebook group, which I will link in the notes below, in the Facebook group, every month they have an event where you go and you post, you report into the group. So it's under events. So I have gone into the events and I have put in my January tally, so what I have accomplished. So for January, I officially reported my budget of $25 US. I have reported in my 3 finishes. So Lady Scarlet Part 1, Lady Scarlet Part 2, Lady Scarlet Part 3. I have posted the pictures of each of those parts in my post on the event. So my credit for those 3 finishes is $19.50. So with my starting budget of $25, a credit of $19.50, I successfully spent $0 in January. So I am ending the month of January 2021 with a balance of $44.50. Technically available. Now it's the goal is not to spend everything that you do, and I get that, because I'm trying to do Stitch from Stash and be well behaved. But I do acknowledge that Needlework Expo is coming up, and you know, I've already said Jeanette Douglas Blooming Bouquet number 6, like that has to come home, like, period. I need that. That's gonna have to come. Anywho, now it's technically not out yet. It won't be available for me to purchase until March, so I need to keep my budget where it is, because I do have some spending planned. But so far, so first week of February, 7 days into the month, I have successfully spent $0. I technically have a credit to calculate now, because this is an odd shape. I'm gonna save the calculation for the end of February, because these are weird shapes, and I'm hoping by the time I get to February it will turn into something that makes the math on how to do the credits for Stitch from Stash work out a little easier. So 1 week in, spent nothing. I technically have 1 finish, so the Banquet Part 1 I have completed. I have not sold anything. There, so that's my week 1 check-in from Stitch from Stash. So I'm doing pretty well on that. So I do have a free chart to highlight for you. And again, I will put this in the notes below so that you can go and get this. So this is, if you like sampler style things, and again, I'm highlighting this because this is a sampler and this isn't, you know, something that's little. This is not as big as Pandemic, but again, this is a very reasonably sized sampler. It is a reproduction sampler that is currently available for free. And you know my line is, when it's free, you take it while it's free. And I do appreciate the people who are putting charts out for free, because given the current situation, given the current economy, and given you know, what some people's individual finances are like, I truly appreciate that people are willing to provide charts for free, so that people who are on really limited budgets for very you know, given their particular situation, through no fault of their own, they may be really tight, that they too can have the joy of potentially working on a new project by picking up a free chart. So hopefully better days are ahead of us, but I appreciate this. So with no further ado, so this is Mary Jane Fry, done by the Solitary Stitcher. So this is the original. I didn't also print out the the model stitch, but this is the sampler that was being reproduced. So again, some nice spring colors in there, a very traditional sampler type thing. You know, I think the border on this is not overly complicated, but very nice. I like a flowy border on samplers. So again, yeah, free, totally free. I think this is a very generous gift by the Solitary Stitcher. And again, the link to this will be in the notes below if you are interested in getting this. I will also say that this week, Hands-On Design, Kathy Haberman, put out her typical February freebie. I didn't print it out to show you, but I will put a link to that in the notes below. If you didn't know, so every February, Kathy Haberman does put out a small free design, which it's around the theme of, you know, Valentine's and love and, you know, those types of things. She's now been married for 33 years, so I do appreciate the sentiment that every year in February she does design something that she gifts to the community in honor of her husband and her marriage and their relationship. So I do appreciate that. Again, I didn't print it out. It's quite nice. It's probably not something that I personally will stitch, but it's a little something. So if you wanted to whip something up for Valentine's Day, it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's totally doable. All right. I feel like, is there something else? Don't have anything. Okay, which means we are on to the topic. And again, because this is the first Flosstube episode in February, a new month where I've started a new project, we're going to focus on the designer of the of my February new start, which is Freda's Fancy Stitching. So a lot of you may not know about Freda. I know Freda. I know Freda from before she actually became a designer. And funnily enough, she actually lives just down the hill from me. I've been to Freda's house. Yes, I'm totally name dropping. I know Freda. I've known Freda for years. Freda can pick me out of a police lineup, no problem. Whether or not she wants to do that, that's a completely different issue. But I have a lot of her charts. And so I have chosen a selection. This is only a selection. This is not all of them that I have of Freda's designs. So I will say Freda does designs both for cross-stitching and canvas work. So again, the Banquet is a canvas piece. Don't be afraid of canvas work. I will also say that she does have some freebies. So again, she's got, I was going to check and see how many. I want to say she's got 3, 4, 5, somewhere in there. Charts, free charts that are available for download from her site. Some of them are cross-stitch, some of them are canvas work. So if you're new to canvas work and you're concerned about, you know, can I do it? How weird is this? This is completely new to me. We're in lockdown. I can't go to somebody for help. The answer is you can download one of her free canvas work charts, and you'll be able to see how she does her stitch diagrams. They're on the smaller side. So again, you won't need to be necessarily heavily invested. You won't need to get 472,000 different things and fibers you've never used that you're feeling uncomfortable about. They are smaller charts so that you can try them out and see how you like it. So I will also put a link to that below. But with that, let's just get on with the charts. So this is called Listen to the Music. So I am a musician. That's not my profession, but I do play piano and a number of other instruments, singing choirs, you know, all that kind of stuff. And so she put this one out and I love it. Now, again, this is another example where you know, this has been out for I don't know how many years, and have I stitched it? No. Hence, stitch from stash, stitch from stash. But I certainly got this one right off the get-go. Again, I've seen the part that doesn't show up very well in the picture is there's a treble clef here. So there's a treble clef there. Anyway, love it. And the funny thing is, when I went into my stash to haul out some of my Fredas charts, all I really needed to do was take them, take the first batch off the top, because the way that I have sorted them where I store them is in the order in which I want to stitch them. And so this is the first one on top. And I opened up the bin and I went, oh, I want to do that anyway. So again, it's not in my 2021 plan, but again, just looking at this, I'm like, oh, I just want to work on this. And this, again, this is not something where it would be, you know, take me a year to do. This would be reasonably, I could accomplish this in a reasonable amount of time anyway, but 2021's planned out. But anyway, so that is listen to the music. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And so this is the problem. Again, I hauled them out and I was like, oh, I love that one. Oh, I love that one. Anyway, so this is Teal-licious. So again, this is another one where I have absolutely kitted this up. I have everything currently in my stash to do this chart. I just, you know, need to get on with it. Oh, isn't it lovely? So if by some miracle in the month of February I get the Banquet completed, I think even though I just went on and on about how listen to the music, I want to start that one, I would probably start this one in the month of February if I finish the Banquet, because this is also a canvas work. And again, it's just, love it. Love it, love it, love it. And again, because she lives near me, I've seen the models for all of these, and they're just, love it. Yeah, so just, if you want to play a drinking game, Love It will be the one that's going to go for this one, because it's going to get said a lot. Here's another one. So this is called Teardrops. So again, I'm calling, like, you know, these are very reasonably sized. The Banquet is a larger one. So this one is like 99 by 141. Let's see. Actually, so she did this one. So this is, it may look like canvas work, and you probably could do it on canvas work. This is actually done on 28 count pewter Jobelin. Recognize that? Because that's what I did Lady Scarlet's Journey on. And now that I'm looking at this, I need to go down. And I'm like, man, I need to go find that leftover piece from Ladies. So I did the piece for Lady Scarlet's Journey. I cut off another piece that I can do for Just Nan's 4 Wishes. Then there was a piece left over. And now I'm looking at this going, I need to find that piece. I need to measure it, because it might actually be the perfect size to do this, which means it should go into the bag. So I'm going to have to do that before this goes back into the bin. Ugh, love it. Love it! All right. So this is Stitch Softly. So this is a canvas work piece, 99 by 99. Again, so this is, you don't, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So a total of 7 fibers are used for this. It's lovely. Just to give you, those of you who are playing the drinking game, a little bit of a break. She has a series called Color Me, and there's a variety of them. And I'm looking at this going, I thought I had 2 of them here, but there might be here in a different order. So this is Color Me Softly. Again, so this is another canvas work piece on 18 count mono canvas. Again, I will say, I don't think this, you know, as much as everybody does their absolute best to get a good picture for their covers, because nobody wants a not good picture, I will say this picture does not do it justice. It's much lovelier in real life. And again, I've seen everything that I'm showing you. I have seen the stitched model in real life. Marvelous Mauves. And, you know, how could I not show this one? Glenda's box. So this is called Glenda's box because it was done with a friend of ours whose name is Glenda, in a colorway that is her colors. Again, it's a soft mauve is her palette. And it's also done on a 25 count Lugana. Why? Because that is Glenda's favorite fabric to stitch on. She loves 25 count Lugana. She loves doing things over one. And so this piece was designed with her color palette, her favorite fabric to stitch on, and it fits into this as a lovely box top. And the information about the box is included with the chart. So, and it's true. If you know Glenda and you look at that, you go, yep, that's Glenda. Those are all the things that she really loves. I know, here we go again. If I could just, anyway, stitch faster, stitch, anyway, whatever. So this is more variations. So again, you can do all of these together, or you could absolutely, if you only wanted to do something small. So if you were in a gift exchange and you needed to do something smaller for whatever reason, you don't have to do all of this. You could just do, you know, a couple of them, or you could do 4 of them, or, you know, make it into a square, or, you know, do whatever you want. And so this is stitched on a lakeside 36 count lakeside linen is what this was stitched on. So this is not canvas work. If only I had more stitching time. And these next two, I've only saved for the bottom. This is not the order that they were placed in the box, but I saved them to show together because Christmas is my favorite one. So she also has Christmas charts. These are not all of her Christmas charts. I have others of her Christmas charts. These are just the 2 that showed up in the top part of the patterns that I have. So this is a silver Christmas. And so this is stitched on a linen. But again, you know, this is not a bad cover photo. In real life, it just looks stunning, particularly when it's done on this dark red fabric. And I do have, of course, I have red fabric in my stash. And I don't know that I have all of the fibers for this, but it's lovely. It's lovely. So that's one, a silver Christmas. And then this is the other one that was in the top batch of my Freda's Fancies in the box called Oh Christmas Tree. So this is done, so this is a canvas work. So again, this is done on a 28 count linen. This is done on canvas work. So she has patterns for both canvas workers and non-canvas workers. I like both trees. Anyway, so because this is canvas work, so you can see that you stitch all of this white background in a design. And again, I've seen this in real life. It's just lovely. And she has more Christmas designs as well. So again, I will put a link to her web page. So you can get these. These can be ordered from your LNS. They can be downloaded, I think, from her web page as a PDF. I think you can order them from her as a paper copy. I don't know that. I don't know that explicitly, because again, I get to live my lovely life where if I really want it, I could phone her and run down and pick it up. Anyway, but that's not really helpful to all of you that are watching, not from where I come from. But these can be ordered from your LNS. I believe they can be downloaded as PDFs. So whether you prefer a paper copy, whether you want to buy it from your LNS because you're trying to support small businesses, which I heartily endorse. For those of you in Europe, I can see that, and I totally understand with what's going on that a lot of, and I've seen it crop up in a lot of comments on a variety of platforms about how grateful they are that they can get PDFs. Certainly at the beginning of the pandemic, when a lot of mail systems were shut down and we're not accepting mail from other countries. Hey, if you couldn't get a PDF, you couldn't get the chart. So anyway, again, I will put a link to Freda's webpage below. Certainly go on there, have a look. She's got well over 100 charts on there. I'm trying to over 100 charts. I don't have all 100. I've tried to be somewhat behaved, but I do have quite a few of them. Anyway, so that is a sampling of the types of designs that you can get from Freda's Fancy Stitching. Again, the Banquet was a mystery. For 2021, she is running another mystery. It has started, so they're only on part 2. So if you were interested in doing a canvas work mystery stitch along, I don't know a lot of them that do the canvas work ones. So if you were a big canvas work one and you were going like, I'd love to do a mystery stitch along. Again, I'm not so good with the mystery. Anywho, but she does have one that is currently running that is a mystery. They're on part 2. I don't remember what it's called. She did a mystery one. So between the Banquet and the current one, there was another mystery one, which I think it was called Patchwork Promises. So that one is also available. So that's a series of charts to make a larger design. Again, so the canvas piece for the Banquet is, I want to say 18 by 14, I think, is the size of this one. Which allows a 2.5 margin around on all 4 sides. Again, if you're looking for a stitch along and a mystery canvas work, Freda's got one running right now that you can participate in. And with that, I'm looking around, saying I think I have addressed all of the things that I was wanting to talk about today. So with that, I hope you all have a good week. I hope that you are staying safe. I hope that you are staying healthy. If you are living in a location that is experiencing what I'm calling these minus a bazillion T weather, which I feel like is quite a few places, particularly in North America, as well as in like Britain. It sounds like things are pretty chilly in quite a few places. So stay warm, but find some time to do some stitching, whether it's canvas work or cross stitch or needlepoint or embroidery or whatever it is that you're doing. I hope that you are making some time to do some stitching, and that I hope that your stitching helps you find some calm in our somewhat still crazy world. And with that, I hope that you have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.